This happened in the fall of 2025 while I was on a sales trip through a small town in Missouri. I had spent the entire day driving, and by the time I returned to my hotel, I was exhausted but still had work to finish. Around 11:30 p.m., I heard activity in the hallway, footsteps, a door opening, urgent voices. About 15 minutes later, I stepped out to get water. I noticed a gurney positioned outside a room 3 doors down. 2 EMTs stood in the doorway with an older man on the stretcher. I assumed it was a routine emergency and returned to my room. 10 minutes later, I stepped back into the hallway. One EMT was performing chest compressions while the other watched a monitor. I heard the flatline tone. The EMT instructed me to return to my room, which I did around 12:18 a.m. I worked for another half hour before climbing into bed around 12:50. Only minutes later, I heard 3 soft knocks. I ignored them. Less than a minute later, 3 knocks again, louder. I looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. I noticed the door handle slowly depress. A feeling came over me unlike anything I'd experienced. The light beneath the door disappeared as if someone was standing outside. After several seconds, the light returned, followed by a brushing sound against the door. Then silence. An hour later, I heard a door open from that same room. A man stepped out in dark slacks and a white shirt with sunken eyes. I asked if he had been with the man taken by EMTs. He nodded and said there had been 3 knocks, and the 3rd time was when they answered. He said, "They don't always leave immediately," and walked away. The next morning, the front desk clerk said the room was vacant. The last guest checked out alone, and only a handful of guests were on my floor, all at the opposite end. Everything connected. The incident happened 3 doors away. My room was 312. The knocks came in threes. The man's statement about 3 knocks. I spent hours trying to explain it: exhaustion, imagination, a vivid dream. But none account for every detail. For 3 weeks, I wasn't myself. Thankfully, nothing similar has ever happened again. But now, I count how many doors separate my room from the stairwell and pay attention to any room numbers involving 3. The knocking only happened twice that night. If I ever hear a 3rd set of 3 knocks, I won't stick around to find out what answers. This happened when I was 18, my first year of university. I was living on campus. One night, a stranger added me on Instagram. The conversation started normal, but turned strange. He asked if I was single, what I was wearing. I'm gay, and that was in my bio, so random messages weren't uncommon. Then he sent a photo. A heavily built man with pale skin, messy brown hair, bright blue eyes, staring directly into the camera. He kept pushing me to play truth or dare. My friend Connor came over, and we decided to play. He asked how I was finding life at university. I never told him. I never posted about university. I had never seen this man before. I blocked him and forgot about it. 2 years later, at 21, I had moved into a house with Connor and 2 other friends. Another Instagram message request. It was him again. Same pale skin, same messy hair, same eyes. I muted the conversation and forgot about it. A few days later, I opened it. There were dozens of messages: sexual, angry, friendly, unhinged. He had been messaging non-stop for days. I blocked him and made my profile private. Less than a month later, I found him in my TikTok messages. He had found me on a completely different platform where I didn't even use my real name. I demanded he leave me alone and blocked him again. I started wondering if I had an actual stalker. A few days later, I was walking home from the train station at night. I heard footsteps behind me. I turned, nobody. Then I heard them again. I turned around and saw him standing several meters away, staring at me. Same pale skin, messy hair, blue eyes. He calmly greeted me by name. I turned and ran. I sprinted home, my hands shaking as I fumbled for my keys, expecting him to appear around the corner. I burst through the door. Connor and our friend ran outside, but he had vanished. The police searched but found nothing. I'm now in the process of getting a restraining order. I still wonder how he found me across multiple platforms and why he kept looking. Most of all, I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't turned around that night. Ever since, I constantly check over my shoulder when walking alone, especially after dark. I hope I never see him again. If anything else happens, I'll provide an update. But honestly, I hope there's never another update to give.